Josh Holmes. He is, of course, one of the wonderful hosts of the Ruthless podcast. I've got my Ruthless merch right here. Good morning, Josh. How are you?
Good morning, Hugh. God, you're the best promoter since P.T. Barnum. I feel like we ought to send
Uh,
you a residual check for all the nice things you say about us on a day-to-day basis. We just love it.
well, I'm on a mission, and I want to explain my mission to you and see if you agree with me. Media is broken. Big media is absolutely broken. Legacy media is in the bag for the Democrats. The only way to fix it is to have people like Ruthless, Commentary, Getting Hammered prosper, and highly concentrated Hugh. We need good, serious podcasts to prosper in order to correct the media descent into chaos. Do you think that could possibly work?
I think it already is working at some level. I mean, look, this is sort of pioneered by folks like you, right? Providing real news, substantive stuff for people to think about, giving people a laugh in the morning doesn't kill anybody either.
Yes.
But also, I mean, also just sort of digging in to what the media will never tell you. I mean, the last 6 weeks, Hugh, and you've covered this relentlessly. I mean, have you ever seen a coronation by a mainstream media more significant than the one they've given Kamala Harris? I mean, it's stunning.
In order for her to be receive the crown to go through the coronation, they had to abdicate all their duties. I want to start with one ad just to illustrate this. This is what she ran yesterday. Josh Holmes, co-host of Ruthless podcast, Kamala Harris ad from yesterday, cut number 20.
For most of my childhood, we were renters. My mother saved for well over a decade to buy a home. I was a teenager when that day finally came, and I can remember so well how excited she was. I know what home ownership means. And sadly, right now, it is out of reach for far too many American families. During the foreclosure crisis, I took on the big banks who exploited people in the housing market. And today, corporate landlords buy hundreds of houses and apartments, then turn them around and rent them out at extremely high prices. I will fight for a law that cracks down on these practices. We will end America's housing shortage by building 3 million new homes and rentals. We should be doing everything we can to make it more affordable to buy a home, not less. I'm Kamala Harris, and I approve this message.
There is nothing, Josh, that is true in that ad. Nothing. How will you handle that on Ruthless podcast?
Well, when she finds the people in the administration that are responsible for all of this terrible economic news, boy, she's really going to hold them to account, isn't she, you? I mean, my goodness, you're right. There's absolutely nothing correct. And what's so brave, watching the DNC last week, I thought, it would be high comedy in any other forum other than our current political environment for somebody who is a sitting vice president to basically suggest that they've happened upon all of these maladies that are affecting the American people, right? I mean, the border czar all of a sudden wants who who helped preside over the entire repeal of the Trump era border security issues that helped secure our country. All of a sudden now she's going to build the wall. I mean, this is a lady who said she wanted to outlaw private health insurance and through AIDS on background. No, that's no longer the case. She's literally cast the deciding vote on not one but two centerpieces of the Biden administration's economic plan, and now she's acting like, boy, this inflation. If I get elected, I'm going to do something about that. What?
I
I mean,
listened to Ruthless yesterday, and I love the fact that Tom Cotton was your first guest on Ruthless. I didn't know that, but you guys played the same clip I played over and over again, where he chopped up John Carl into a chef's salad and served him to the viewers of America. I don't know that John Carl ever comes back on the air after that because he's in so many pieces like Zorro. But let's go to that. Let's talk about the Ruthless podcast because that's what I want to promote. I want people to go and follow, subscribe, and rate it. How often does it show up? What's its genesis? And are you surprised by how it's sort of like the lily pond, the lily pad in a pond? It's taken over the pond. It keeps replicating and growing. Are you surprised?
well, you're so kind. I mean, look, unlike you, Hugh, we had absolutely no idea what we were doing. We started this thing at the end of the election cycle in 2020 because we thought there was a whole bunch of stuff that people were missing and people were covering process stories. It was COVID era stuff. We were talking about it all amongst the four of us, Comfortably Smug, Michael Duncan, and John Ashbrook on the show. And we thought we had some pretty funny stuff. And so we thought, you'd throw in a USB mic in the side of a computer and have at it. We thought, well, this is kind of a 2-week test run to see how things work. And third or fourth episode, we have Tom Cotton on. The thing goes to number 1 on the charts. And I guess at that point, we were like, boy, we might have a responsibility to actually do this thing over a period of time. And so, yeah, it's changed a lot. I mean, you can see, I got a real studio. There's real people. We got Spaghetti sitting here. He's doing all the tech stuff. I mean, this has become.
I have only one criticism. I have only one criticism of the show. I listen to you guys. I don't watch it because you're my exercise. It gets posted early. I can go longer. I can trundle further. But I don't. Spaghetti does graphics, and sometimes you guys lied over what's actually on the graphic, and I'm guessing, and I'm not very good at that. But it's nevertheless funny as hell, so I'll put up with that. How long do you put into prep? Because you sound like me. You just bring a general view of the world obtained by what you read and listen to during the day, and then just have at it.
Yeah, I mean, the good news is it dovetails really well with what we do in our day jobs, right? I mean, this is sort of our moonlighting gig here. And so our day jobs are spent literally going through everything that's printed in the world of politics and culture and everything else and trying to have a consumption over the written word, quite honestly. And we travel a long way to get everything we can possibly get. So it comes kind of second nature. I mean, this is the stuff that we would be doing no matter what. We're just recording it. And I think if we've had some success on this, it's basically like listening to your buddies and sitting down, having a beer after work and talking through the issues that have presented themselves. Some of them are completely hilarious. Some of them are outrageous. Some of the most outrageous are completely hilarious. And so we try to have a little lighter side. We don't want everybody yelling at each other all the time. We want to have fun with stuff. And that's kind of the genesis.
You're also not controlled by the FCC. So I want to alert the audience that this is a PG-13 podcast, and an occasional word will slip out that might shock Grandma. So if Grandma's going to listen, you might want to let her know, Grandma, these are youngsters, and the youngs are going to be very, very rough on your ears, but nevertheless, you should listen. Do you have any idea how big your audience is?
We do have some idea. Yeah. I mean, there's now, like I said, actual professionals who work on the show who give us a sense of things. I mean, look, we had 500,000 people on Thursday last week download and listen to us talk to Vivek Ramaswamy. And, like we had a lot of questions. We were critical of him during the course of his campaign because we knew him before and we thought he was such a smart guy, and we still think he's an incredible smart guy. We didn't like some of the things that he had done towards the end of his campaign, trying to, persuade an audience that, we didn't know why he was talking to him in the first place. We had those questions. He answered them all. And like, that's the beauty. That's what you do, Hugh. That's what we try to do, is have a conversation. It's not a gotcha thing. We just have questions and we want to talk through things. And he provided.
Now here's the money question. Vivek was better on Ruthless than he was on either of his appearances with me. He stopped coming on the show because he was still a candidate then. He's relaxed a little bit more, and he doesn't need to pretend to know everything, so he's gotten better. Here's the key question. Has any network approached Ruthless and said, let us play your tape? Just give us your show. We'll put it on at midnight. We'll put it on at 11. We'll put it on at whatever the FCC rules, relax, or on a cable. Has anyone said, let us broadcast you over a television platform?
Well, it's funny, not until very recently. And, we did those live shows. We did a live show at the Milwaukee convention that I think caught a lot of people's attention because we had this big setup right outside the front door of the convention. And that one that you're looking at there was in front of the first debate in Milwaukee. It's like a game day type setup. And I think that caught some people's attention. So there's been some discussion about things. But look, I think from our purposes, like we've got a guy that's handling all that. What we want to do is never lose what the reason why we wanted to do this in the first place is because it's fun. And we think that it's fun for the audience. We like to put on a product that we laugh about and we have fun and we make people's day a little bit better, give them some education and insight, but also like, a smile and something they can talk to their colleagues about. And so,
you know what it is? It's Bill Maher's show for center-right people and undecided. It is the Bill Maher show for serious people. Bill Maher is not my favorite guy, and long story, irrelevant, but he gets good ratings for HBO. HBO should be carrying Ruthless, and you should resist any attempt for them to produce it because it's a fine product. They should just leave you alone and throw it on HBO. And here's my key question. Who else needs to get promoted, Josh? I mentioned Commentary Pod, Getting Hammered. I listen to Dan Senor, but that's kind of a niche audience where people care about Israel. Who else is doing what Ruthless does?
Well, I think there are a lot of people in this space. And the fun thing about Ruthless, we kind of see ourselves as, you remember the old band, The Band? And the beauty of The Band, the beauty of The Band was that every artist in the entire musical space at some point played a set with the band. And they came on and they sang their song, maybe sang their songs, one of the band's songs, but they were sort of just the band. And Ruthless is a little bit like that. I mean, tomorrow's show, you're going to have Katie Pavlich on guest hosting with us. We've had MK Hammer on all the time to discuss things. We had Ben Shapiro on. Anybody is welcome to come in and sort of guest host with us. And so we see, much like you are doing yeoman's work, us as a platform.
But I'm doing it for a demo that's older than you. This is the key thing. I must decrease so you can increase. There is a group of people who've been doing this forever, like Prager and me and Gallagher. We're going to age out in 4 to 8 years. And someone's got to step up. And it's not going to be only talk radio. It's going to be podcasting. And I think the Ruthless is the way. Now, tell people where they get the merch, because everybody wants this, and I won't give it to anybody. My Ruthless cup.
You've done an incredible job, and that thing shows up on Fox too. We're moving items thanks to Hugh.
Yeah, I know.
We're moving. I mean, look at that thing. That's just the most beautiful silver bullet back there. So if you go to ruthlesspodcast.com, we got a lot of different merch items. We like to joke that the old man Michael Duncan hand sews every single hat and shirt, and so it's treated with care and delivered promptly to your mailbox. But
so, Josh, I have one request. I don't want you in talk radio. Until I retire, you're saying podcasting on HBO. I do not want you in talk radio. I don't want The Voice, especially, because my voice is running out of tread on the wheels, but you guys are fabulous.